What Happens If You Do or Don't Ascend by Danny Searle. There are three questions I get asked on a very regular basis. Firstly, what will happen to those that do not ascend? Number two is, what will I experience during the ascension process? And thirdly, what can I expect life to be like on the fifth dimension? So in this video, I hope to address these questions to the best of my knowledge. I say that because in truth, no one knows exactly what will happen or exactly what to expect. My conclusions come from several sources of reliable information and my own experience on the astral plane.
What will happen to those that do not ascend?
Firstly, it should be understood that those that do not ascend are not being punished in any way. Every soul on earth had a choice, and some chose not to ascend at this time. In reality, it is mainly because they are younger souls that do not have the experience yet to raise their vibration. The majority of these souls also live in a fear-based mentality, and as such will create their own end-time scenario. So I am not trying to sugarcoat anything nor fearmonger. The fact is that they will experience tidal waves, earthquakes and firestorms. They will experience the full brunt of earth changes accompanied with loss and tragedy. But as I said, this is not a punishment. This is what they have chosen, and it is also what they need to experience for their own growth. These people will die, but it will not be like the traditional death where they leave their earthly body and return to the spirit plane. Instead, they will die on earth and simply wake up in a hospital bed in a large hospital-type building. This building, and there are many other like it, exist right now on another third-dimensional planet within our galaxy. This planet is similar to Earth, but a little smaller, cooler, and much less life. The planet mainly consists of rolling hills with sweeping grassy plains. There is one smallish ocean that only harbours very primitive life. On the surface there are only very simple insect-type creatures and a few small mammal-type animals. In fact, it is what the Earth was like about 500 million years ago before really advanced life took off. It revolves around a star very similar in size and makeup to our own Sun, and that is actually why this planet was chosen. Our Sun plays a critical role in human well-being and health, so something similar needed to be found. The people who end up here will be in a renewed body. That is, their exact body that they had before they died, but it will be cured of any injuries, malformations, disfigurements or disease. They will still have the same personality, thoughts and traits as they did prior to death. They will also have full memory of what took place. This is so they can grow from their experience. If they know what happened to them, then they are more likely to want to change their consciousness in the future. These souls will be grouped into soul-level groups. For example, young souls in one group and baby souls in another group, etc., etc. Now, for the record, the majority of souls that will ascend are mature and old souls. Soul ages is a whole presentation in itself, which I hope to cover in the future, but for now, just go along with it. Each group will be supervised by very spiritually enlightened entities from the Pleiades. These beings are known as Palladians, and they have had a long association with the human soul group. Palladians are very tall, about 10 to 12 feet. They have very high cheekbones, almond eyes, and very straight and long hair. They look suspiciously like angels from the Bible, and they have a very beautiful, visible, silver blue aura around them. So the younger the soul group, the more Palladians will be there to supervise. The Palladians will counsel and guide these souls and help reunite them with other family members and friends. They will teach them how to live and how to raise their vibration. This new earth will have no money, no religion and no government as we currently understand it. All means by which corruption can thrive will be removed. The aim is to get these souls up to the 5th dimension as quickly as possible. With the help of the Palladians, some souls will literally ascend just days after the earth changes. Now, if only they had prepared themselves prior, they would have not had to endure the hardships. But in reality, every soul was exactly where they were meant to be to experience the change as they did. By the way, people who have already died before the ascension date have already made their choice. Some will ascend directly from the spirit plane, and others will reincarnate into their old bodies on that new planet I was talking about. So that is about all I can tell you about souls that do not ascend. So next we'll look at what happens to the souls that will ascend.
What will I experience during the ascension process?
The first thing I can say with certainty is that each person will experience ascension in a very personalised way. So what I mean by this is if you were sitting right next to your best friend and you both ascended at the same time, you would not be aware of each other, nor would you see each other. After it was all over, you and your friend would be able to swap stories about your experience and they would be completely different. Your ascension will occur prior to any fatal earth changes or events. So let's look at the ascension process step by step. The first thing you'll notice is a raising in your vibration. This will be experienced as a tingling or buzzing sensation. Your body will begin to feel weightless, starting at your feet and rapidly moving up. You will feel an intense, but not painful, buzzing in your crown chakra, and by now you will have lost all sensation in your lower limbs. You will also experience strong butterflies in your tummy sort of feeling. Now, man-made objects like plastic, bricks, walls, electrical appliances, and even non-natural fibres will begin to slowly vibrate or have a washed out look to them, a wobbly appearance like they were underwater. These objects will begin to disappear and a cloudy haze will begin to envelop your surroundings. As the haze gets thicker, more things around you will begin to disappear. The haze seems like it's being lit by an external light source, but you will not be able to determine the direction of the light source. This is actually the veil between dimensions. You will have an experience of moving upward, however, you'll have no sense of direction. Suddenly, the haze begins to dissipate and your eyes can refocus. You will notice intense colour of every description, including colours that are not visible in the 3rd dimension. By now, you will notice that your body no longer has any weight. Yes, your body is still there, and will still feel physical to you, but your body has been transformed into a light body. A light body never gets sick, never ages, never needs food, water or sleep. In fact, any requirements of the physical body are no longer necessary, including feeling hot or cold. Just like in the movie The Matrix, when Neo is inside the computer program, you will project your residual self-image. In other words, you will look like how you view yourself as looking in your best way. Further to this, you can look like anything or anyone you want to look like. For most people, they project themselves as a fit and trim 30-something-year-old. But of course, there are exceptions to this. Some people want to experience being in a child's body again, and others want to appear as a graceful elderly person. The point is, you have free will, and whatever you think, you create. But more on that later. More than likely, you will appear in a beautiful grassy field or forest or standing on a beach facing an endless ocean. There will be birds and animals, but they no longer fear you, nor will you fear them in the case of big cats or bears. You will feel a oneness with all creation. If you quiet your mind and close your eyes, you can hear the thoughts of all living creatures. With further practice, you can join your mind with the herd or flock and experience group consciousness. The aromas wafting on the gentle breeze are exquisite, and the flowers are like nothing you have ever seen. There are fruit trees heavy with fruit, and actually one particular fruit is similar to a large plum. You may feel an overwhelming urge to eat this fruit. That is because it has incredible healing properties, but more importantly, it can help to ground you to the fifth dimension. So in other words, once you eat the fruit, there is no going back to the third dimension. So bon appetit. Now, getting back to your body, even though you do not need to eat, you will still want to eat. But this is purely for the sensation and the taste. Some people may feel an overwhelming urge to lay down and sleep. This is because you may have experienced a particularly traumatic event in your third dimensional life, so some extra healing needs to take place to repair your aura and your other subtle bodies. But don't worry, you're not going to miss anything. Time no longer exists. That's right, linear time only exists on the third dimension. There is still day and night, but not measured like we do at the moment. Once you are suitably grounded and healed, your guides will appear. For some people, they may have been with you right from the start and actually held your hand right through the whole process. But either way, your guides will now show up and tell you what the next move is and what the go is. Something they will stress is that in the fifth dimension, whatever you think, you will manifest. Unlike the third dimension, where there is a delay between cause and effect, on the fifth dimension, it is instantaneous. So you must learn how to control your thoughts. But don't fear this new ability. Once you learn how to control it, you'll never understand how you got by without it. This is also why no fear-based people can enter the fifth dimension. If you were fear-based and began thinking fearful thoughts, you would manifest those things immediately and probably go insane. So that is why a love vibration is so important. Just another note, if you are thinking, oh great, I can manifest a red Ferrari, well, yes, you could. But those that understand fifth dimensional living realize that this is just folly, and they would dedicate their energies to much higher endeavours.
What can I expect life to be like on the fifth dimension?
It is now time to be introduced to your new teachers. That's right, every single person will have two teachers, a male and a female. Just like on the third dimensional planet, your teachers will be Pleiadians. So, for the next equivalent of 2 years, they will be your full-time companions, teaching you everything you need to know about living in the fifth dimension, along with any other questions you have about the past and a little bit about the future. You will probably come to see them more as loving parent figures. But don't worry, you'll still see your other friends and family members that have also ascended. In fact, at some point there will be a massive welcome to the fifth dimension party, where everyone who has ever ascended will be in attendance. So just imagine a party where you can eat, drink and be merry and never get tired, bored or even feel bloated. The finest musicians are playing, the greatest talents performing, and some of the best conversations this side of the Andromeda Galaxy. Speaking of which, don't be surprised if you bump into a few special, non-human entities, what we presently call aliens, that are there to welcome you to their homeland. Just like in the movie Jumpers, you will be able to move from one side of the planet to the other instantaneously, just with thought. Indeed, you can go anywhere in the galaxy but that is getting a little ahead of ourselves. You will be free to study or practice anything you want. You could learn a new instrument, study the healing arts, or try your hand at painting. With access to the vast universal libraries and teachers, there is nothing you cannot master. After all, you have all the time in the world to perfect your art. There are lots and lots of jobs to do, but I prefer not to use that term. Work in the fifth dimension is very different to what you know in the third dimension. For a start, there is no money and no need for money. So any jobs that are based around money, like banking, are suddenly redundant. But there is a lot of work in service to other roles like creation, invention, growing, healing, caring, recording, teaching, administrating, performing, showing, travelling, and many, many more. The basic guide is anything that will benefit humanity or anything you can share with humanity that is beneficial to the whole. All work is done on a volunteer basis, and no one is forced to work in order to survive, and no one is forced to do a job that they do not like. Your home will be a creation of your own making, so start practicing now by visualizing the type of home and location you would like to live in now. And remember, you can build it anywhere in the world because travel is just a blink of an eye. There will still be cities, but not like what we have today, and a lot of these cities will actually be underwater. You will still fall in love, get married and have children. But sex is no longer a physical act, but rather a blending of energies that makes a physical orgasm seem like popping a balloon in comparison to a hydrogen bomb. We have all been part of an experiment that required us to incarnate for thousands of years into hundreds of lives to experience all levels of creation. This helped the source of all that is learn more about itself. The plan was to see if we as incarnate souls could be completely cut off from the source via amnesia and the dense third dimension and still find our way back to it. To cut a long story short, the experiment was deemed a huge success and enough souls were able to achieve a heightened state of spiritual awareness without ever having any direct knowledge of the source. Truly remarkable. So basically, it's all over and it's time to go home. But just like a scuba diver that has been at depth, he must return to the surface gradually or else he risks contracting the bends. The same can be said for our souls. We are originally from the 11th dimension, but if we were to suddenly jump from the 3rd dimension to the 11th dimension, we would quite literally be torn apart. So that is why we are going to the 5th dimension. We will stay there until all human souls join us. So remember all those souls that got stuck on the 3rd dimension? Yep, we cannot move to the next level, which will be the 8th, until the very last soul ascends to the 5th. But that is a long way away, and I can assure you that once you're on the 5th dimension, you would feel like you would never want to leave it anyway. Indeed, your soul has been disconnected from the source. But once you are in the 5th dimension, you will once again experience the overwhelming love and unity that is the source of all that is. That's when a lot of you will get that aha moment about what I'm trying to relate here. It really is a big deal. So the next 12 months are going to be really tough. As the Earth vibration rises, the world will fall further into chaos. Younger souls will literally go crazy. But that is why it is important to do the work now. Meditate, meditate, meditate. Just 20 minutes a day, every day. That is the bare minimum requirement. I hope by now you can understand what waits for you once you are committed to doing the hard yards. And make no mistakes, it is going to be hard, but stay focused and do your visualizations and do your meditations. In fact, it's the days that you couldn't be bothered are the days that you need to do it most. Push yourself because you won't regret it. Your present life now is just a cheap imitation of what life is supposed to be. In less than 12 months, you can trade in your current slavery for paradise. I hope to see you on the other side. Love and light.